Welcome to the Whistleblower of the Week podcast, hosted by FBI whistleblower Jane Turner. Join her as she shares the stories of real-life heroes and people of integrity.
And today I'm so honored to have on Stephen Kohn with Kohn and Colapinto. Stephen is known as a globe-trotting whistleblower lawyer. He teaches, mentors countries across the world, and congrats on your years of assisting the UK. They just passed some legislation pro-whistleblower. You've worked with Georgina Halford Hall, Whistleblowers UK, and they passed this important whistleblower and award action. So congrats on that because you've been assisting them. But we have a problem right here in this country, don't we? And it's time to issue an action alert. There's major concerns with the AML FinCEN whistleblower part of the law. And could you please tell us why we're doing this podcast that is so critical?
Well, we're looking at the single most important action that anyone can take to promote whistleblowing this year and perhaps for a 10-year period of time. The AML, which is Anti-Money Laundering, Whistleblower Law, is the most comprehensive whistleblower award law ever passed. It's bigger than Dodd-Frank, bigger than false claims. It's transnational in scope. It permits whistleblowers to report to any component of justice, Treasury. Also, you can get an award for bringing concerns internally. The scope of the whistleblowing covered is massive. It's money laundering, which is all dirty money entering the international financial systems. If people pay bribes and put it in a bank, human trafficking, drug cartels, tax evasion, Russian oligarchs, and the scope and amount of money that violates AML laws is just almost beyond comprehension. So I represented an AML whistleblower from Estonia, in Danske Bank in Estonia, and a UK citizen. This one whistleblower scandal was $240 billion, and you can look it up, the Danske Bank scandal, $240 billion, laundered primarily from Russia and Russian oligarchs over a 10-year period, including their secret police, including the Putin family. One bank. So you can begin to see how massive this is. And it covers all suspicious transactions, the requirement to know your customer, but the law goes much further. It covers sanctions violations. It covers international organized crime that uses the financial systems. So we're looking at a super law with very on paper, strict confidentiality procedures and very broad coverage. So the issue now is, will this law work? So what is occurring is the Department of Treasury has given an organization known as FinCEN, the Financial Crimes Network, authority over administering this law. And they have published regulations, proposed rules. These rules will govern the operation of this law for years to come. Under the Administrative Procedure Act, the public has the right to comment, and the comments must be heard and adjudicated. So this is what we're looking at is not just filing a petition or a letter or, what people do, do this or do that. This is a mandatory administrative process that if it works right, we can fix a lot of the bad laws, and I'll get into those, a lot of the bad procedures, and it also enables us to go to court and challenge any regulation that we challenge in this rulemaking procedure that violates the law. This gives our community whistleblower supporters an opportunity to have real impact and essentially let the Department of Treasury know that they must follow the law, implement this as Congress intended, or else. So this is, I like to say, a generational opportunity. It's an opportunity to have real impact on the procedures that will govern one of the most important whistleblower protection and award laws ever passed. So let's get down to it and figure out what's going on and what we need to do.
Well, Stephen, it seems to me that FinCEN should be on board looking at Dodd-Frank, what worked there, looking at, what's best for whistleblowers. And it sounds to me like what you're saying is that they're not going down that path.
Well, unfortunately, that's true. We were quite surprised when we saw their proposal because the proposal deviates from the statute and they're required to follow the statute. So, for example, confidentiality. There's nothing more important for a whistleblower, say, who's turning in a drug cartel that is pumping millions of dollars through a U.S. bank. There's nothing more important to that whistleblower than confidentiality.
Right.
These
right.
AML whistleblowers, especially those in countries like Mexico or around the world, face life and death situations.
Right.
Yet they have the best information. Nothing is more important than confidentiality. So the statute says, if you file a whistleblower case with FinCEN, and FinCEN wants to share that information with other agencies, the other agencies must agree to the strict confidentiality and anonymous filing procedures in the law. This is right in the statute. But the FinCEN rules dropped that. They say, oh, FinCEN can share it with any agency, including foreign law enforcement agencies, with no protection for the whistleblower. Just think about that they could sit and give the information to Mexican authorities that are notoriously corrupt.
Well, Stephen, that's a death sentence
Exactly.
for whistleblowers to reveal their name. Why are they doing that?
Well, we don't have to ask why. We just have to stop them. And that's what this whole administrative process is about. It gives us, and we've already filed a 75-page comment going over all of the details. It gives us the opportunity to tell the agency how they got it wrong, what they have to do to get it right, and then we essentially can threaten taking them to court if they don't do it. This, as I say, this is not a petition. This is not a useless resolution. This is not a feel-good anything. This is a real proceeding where we can have real impact. And how do we know this? The National Whistleblower Center was the most active participant in the Dodd-Frank rules. They adopted many of our proposals. We were the most active I'll give you an example. The SEC came up with an idea to cap the amount of awards, the size. We beat them back. They came up with an idea to make the filing procedure super technical. We beat them back.
Yes.
There was this massive move to require whistleblowers to tell their employers and before they went to the government. We beat them back. And we can do the same here. Why? Because we are right on the law. And we have a real procedure to push and force. And that's why this is, I say, urgent. I need to state right now, because this is a real procedure, there's an actual deadline. This isn't hocus pocus. All comments must be received by June 1.
Oh.
So he who giveth, taketh. So yes, we have a right to participate, but they gave us the shortest amount of time to do it. Does that make us stop? Absolutely not. It just means we have to be harder and get our voices heard.
Right, right. So important. And I'm really glad you brought this up because it's just critical.
The interview will continue after this brief message. Become part of the growing grassroots movement that supports whistleblowers around the world who risk their careers, financial security, friendships, and even their freedom to speak out against wrongdoing. Make a one-time gift or become a monthly donor today. Every donation makes a difference. Visit whistleblowersblog.org to give.
I remember we featured on Whistleblower Network News, Natalie Mayflower Edwards, a FinCEN whistleblower. They destroyed her. So I think it's acutely important for people to get involved in this, protect whistleblowers, and tell us how we can do that.
And I will. And it's very straightforward, but I want to add something else.
Yes.
Cynicism and hopelessness that many of us feel.
Yes.
We have filed many cases. We are working now with people from FinCEN and Justice on major money laundering and sanctions cases. And we have for the last number of years. That's how we know how this all works. The rank and file prosecutors are good people. They want to do the right thing. So it's not like we're walking into a hostile bureaucracy that's gunning for us. The rank and file prosecutors and investigators, they know how this law needs to work. And they're in many ways our allies. Those at the top don't. Those at the top may have anti-whistleblower biases. They may just really not have the slightest idea how the real world works for whistleblowers and can be easily misled or pushed by the banks. Because the
Yes.
are the ones who are covered. It's the banks that have to implement most of the money laundering regulations, and it's the banks that don't want to get turned in. So our job is to educate and push. So how do you do it? It's extremely simple. By law, it must be simple. By law, it must be open to the American public, because by law, the American public has the right to comment. And that has to be real, not just some impossible bureaucracy. So here's how it works. Very simple. If you go to our webpage, it's going to be laid out ABC, which is whistleblowerswithanas.org. And it's on the page /actions/FinCEN rules. Very simple. Or you can go straight to the website of FinCEN whistleblowing. So here's what happens. You go to the website, and it's on our website. There's a link, and it's a link to regulations.gov comments. Just press the link. Simple. You go to the website, you press the link. Pop up is here's comment. Put in your name, your email, and there's a whole place where you can put in a comment. Type it in, or cut and paste, or attach a letter. Super simple, then press submit. Done. And what we have on our website is the link that takes you directly to the place to file the comment. It would take about 2 seconds to get there. Then we have a proposed comment that you can literally cut and paste and stick it in the box and press submit. Or you're free to edit it in any way you want, or write your own comment or submit your own letter. But the process is very simple. But this process must be followed, because once you submit it, it's now a formal comment submitted through the process that has to be taken into consideration in the final rule. Now, if these final rules don't work and are a threat to whistleblowers, we can take them to court. But if we have the support of hundreds and thousands of Americans on our side, it will make whatever judicial challenge we're forced to file much more effective. Also, and I've participated in a slew of these rules under both administrations, under Obama, under Trump, under Biden. under Dodd-Frank, and we've prevailed in all three because the agencies don't want to go to court, and they also understand if pushed, they have to follow the law. If pushed, we can get a large amount of the most significant reforms we need done with your help. Whistleblowers.org, go to the FinCEN rulemaking page, and just follow the very simple three-step process. Go to the web page for FinCEN rule comment, submit the comment, press submit.
So, Stephen, can I ask you? Most people are really familiar with the National Whistleblower Center. They've heard the name, they know the site, and they know it helps whistleblowers. Can they just plug that into their computer, the National Whistleblower Center, and will they find
Yes.
where you can, boom, get that comment going?
Just put in National Whistleblower Center. You'll be right there.
Boom. Okay.
If you come to the home page, you'll be directed where to go. Easy. But I
Easy
just have
peasy.
to say something. If you think about the scope of this law, how many thousands upon thousands of whistleblowers will be covered, the whole banking system internationally, covering but also financial exchanges. We did the big Binance case. Crypto is covered. Crypto exchanges are covered because it exchanges money. It's the international financial system where all the dirty money ends up.
Yes.
So this is a breakthrough for whistleblowers, a breakthrough for accountability. And we're just at the edge. We got some really bad regulations being proposed, and we have extremely strong arguments on our side. And we have a hammer of judicial review if they mess it up. All we need is you to participate.
Yes. You need whistleblowers, supporters, the general public to go to the National Whistleblower Center site, plug in their comments, and let people know. Because once word is out, Stephen, that your identity is revealed, that program is not going to work.
Exactly. And as lawyers, we have to warn the whistleblowers, the good-hearted people who step forward, who put everything at risk. And we already know, because we're doing these money laundering cases for the last number of years, the majority of the most important whistleblowers will be coming internationally. There'll be a lot from the United States. But I tell you, these folks need our support. If they're putting their life, literally their life on their line, not just their career on their job,
their life,
we have to stand behind them. And the way to do it is to make sure our law enforcement agencies follow the law, do their job, and protect their sources, period. So thank you. And I just want to now
thank you
the direct link to the website. So you can definitely just go to the National Whistleblower Center or whistleblowers.org. But this is the direct URL, whistleblowers with an S.org /actions /FinCEN FINCEN -rules. You'll go right there. Easy to file. Jane, thank you so much as usual.
Thank you, Stephen Kohn. Just an absolute massive hero to all whistleblowers, supporters, and the general public. Thank you for bringing this to our attention.
Thanks.
So important.
Thank you for listening. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. You can find more whistleblower stories at whistleblowersblog.org. Music by Rachel Kilgore, guest booking by Victoria Thompson, and editing by Anissa Cheek. Whistleblower of the Week is a production of Whistleblower Network News. The views expressed by podcast guests are their own and not those of Whistleblower Network News.